Today's class was, for me, a whole new level of teaching. I don't know where it came from or what it's all about, but it provided me with an enormous amount of clarity and capacity and insight. I'll tell you, the thing that was most apparent to me today was how sleepy so many of you are, and how not present so many of you are at this moment. And on the contrary, how many of you are unbelievably here and available. How many of you are authentic in your work, and how many of you are inauthentic in your work. And you're going to have to figure it out for yourself. I mean, I can sit and talk to each of you. Here's the story. You're alive. You're on this planet. You have a life, and you're sitting in this room for a reason. You have no idea how rare it is in the human experience to connect with an opportunity to wake up. And I don't even mean wake up in the spiritual sense. I mean wake up to the fact that you're here, that this is really happening, that you're in this moment, in this room, in this place, in this body, in this condition, in this emotional state, in this reality of you. That's where you are. That's who you are. And you have to face that. You have to face the part of you that's authentic and really present, and the part of you that's inauthentic, which means putting on a show, presenting an image, presenting a facade, trying to pretend to be something that you want the world to think you are. It's absolutely waste of time. Because the clarity that comes through this body-mind, which is a clarity that belongs to each of us, but most of us don't have, but it looks really into you, and it sees the falseness. It sees the presentation. It sees the, I'm a good person, I want to be a good person. Who gives a shit if you're a good person? You have to be a real person. You have to be real, and you have to be you. And if you are a really miserable son of a bitch, then be a real miserable son of a bitch. It's the only way to begin to own your truth. If your truth is a lie and a presentation and a, oh, I'm so spiritual, forget it. It's going to lock you up in a prison of spirituality, and it won't be true. It won't be who you are. Who you are is who you are. And what you have to find is what is that, and then let that implode. Let it disappear, let it fall away and become who you truly are. And I will tell you, who you truly are is this exquisitely beautiful energy force of being, and it's full of love and full of joy and full of openness and full of presence. That's who you are. And if you're living this thing that's walking around going, oh, God, I'm really trying, I really want to grow, I really want to be spiritual. Or, oh, I think they think I'm spiritual, so I'm going to walk around with this kind of smile on my face. It's bullshit. It's a complete waste of your life. Really a waste of your life. Your life is to find out who you truly are, and who you truly are is this vastness, this vast conscious truth. That's who you are. It's who we all are. And not to know that is such a terrible waste of this opportunity. You're only here once. Maybe that's not true, but let's assume it is true. You're only here once. This is your shot to get it right. How can you sit here and sleep? How can you sit here like this? Who wants to see that? Nobody. Nobody. You know, I'm working with this side of the room, so people over here sleep. Oh, you'll come to me later. You know, I mixed it up today, and half of you were sleeping when I would come to you. Why are you sleeping? You're tired. You've got 5,000 reasons to be tired. I'm tired. I don't care that I'm tired. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. I work through my being tired. That's what work is. That's what Rudy taught us. You work through being tired. You just sit there and say, I really want this. And watch what happens. It moves from here saying, I really kind of want this. I really do. Oh, I really wish for it. That's really important. But then you got to get down to will, power, right here. And you go, I need this. I will work through this. And it's amazing what happens when you get down here, even here to here. It starts to do battle with this, which is how most people live. Most people live unconscious, drunk, out of their minds, out of consciousness, getting through life any way they can. Just give me another Hershey bar, give me another this. Whatever it is to get through the day, that's not living. It's not living. Living is this. It's sometimes really painful. And you're not even going to know how painful it is until you get rid of the bullshit idea of who you are. The bullshit idea of who you are, you spend so much energy creating this illusion about yourself, this image to give to the world, has nothing to do with you. Nothing. It's not who you are. Who you are is this vast truth. How can you miss that? How can you walk around and not know it? Especially when you've had these amazing teachers like Rudy in your life who come and say, get rid of all of that crap and just demand that I will open. I will open. I will be present. I want to grow, is the way Rudy put it. Really what it means is, I want to grow out of my crap. I want to grow out of the false illusion, the false image that I live in. Because it's a burden. It is so hard to carry that. That's why you're sleeping. You're sleeping because you can't support the stupidity of your image. It's so tiring. Walking around like, I'm a good person. I'm really a good person. People like me because I'm so kind and nice. You know, they don't really like you because you're kind and nice. You know, they look right through you. They go, this person's trying to be a good person. You know, they're a piece of shit, but they think they're a good person. You know, you want to go, come on, wake up. You're not nice. You're really actually a rather miserable person. Trying to put on this facade. It looks awful. Rudy called it snow on a pile of garbage. You know, it looks sparkly for the moment because it's all clean and white, but it's not, it's garbage. You know, and we're all garbage. We're all garbage. Recognize that. The minute you recognize that you're really garbage, what happens is you accept who you are. And then the garbage starts to become a compost heap, and something extraordinary, this energy, builds up because you're being true to your own garbage, and this new life, this fertilizer for your new self just evolves, and you start to grow out of that, and you discover you are this enormous, enormous self. It's also an enormous self that resides for some unknown, mysterious reason in your little ego. What's that about? What's this vast, universal self that actually has your name? It's called George and Cheryl. How come it's called that? That's weird. The universe, God Almighty, is called George and Cheryl? Yes. Yes, it actually is. It actually is. Why is it that? It's a crazy thing. How is it possible that this body is that incredible vastness of being? How is that possible? I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you. But for you not to know that is a big mistake. It's a big mistake because you are sitting at the threshold of knowledge, all of you. You're sitting at the threshold of knowing who you are. You come to this class because something is drawing you here. And the thing that's drawing you here is that God inside you that wants you to know. It gets you in a car, it gets on the freeway, it gets, or whatever it's called here, the throughway, I don't know what it's called. You get in it and you drive and you come to this little place in the country and you sit here and you go, what's that about? Why would you come here and go to sleep? You can do that at home. You don't have to get in the car. You know, you come here and you go, I want this. I want this. I really want it. And when it gets down to this will space down in your belly, when it gets here and it goes, yes, I am going to fight through this, you build this thing that Rudy called spiritual muscle. Spiritual muscle gets rid of laziness. It gets rid of sloth. It gets rid of indifference. It gets rid of all that crap that gets in the way of your knowing who you are. It's such a waste to live a life and not find it. And it's even more of a waste to live a life in pursuit and to show up here week after week after week and not get it. How can you walk away from here and not get it? It's right here. This is it. I mean, that's the incredible thing about spiritual awakening. I can only tell this to you and have it make no sense on one level, but this is the very thing right here. This is it. It's always right here. God is the very essence of your life. The thing you're seeking is the chair you're sitting on. It's the floor, it's the ceiling, it's the Buddha that you see in this room. It's everything. It's also the supermarket checkout person. It is the person honking at you on the freeway. It is all one thing, and it is completely real. It's completely viable, important truth. You're living it. You're living it. It's not something that's pretending to be something else. It's not an illusion. It's real. This is real. Wake up. Wake up to this. Wake up to what you're in, because why would you not do that? Well, the reason you don't do it is because being real hurts. Being real fills you with the truth of life. The truth of life is that it is ephemeral, that it is beauty beyond belief, and it will all be lost on some level. That all this exquisite creation is all going to disappear at some point for you. So there is unbelievable sadness in that. So you'd rather walk around going, oh God, I got to make more money, and I got to get a career, and I got to make, this has got to happen, and that has to happen. It's all a way of avoiding the existential truth of life, which is it's happening right now, and you don't know if it will happen a second from now. You just don't know. So you experience this beyond belief poetic sense of the ephemeral beauty of every second. It's both profoundly sad and profoundly beautiful and joyous and wondrous. That's all you know. It's yin-yang. It's the totality. This is the totality. This is the absolute. This moment is the absolute. Everything you've ever been in search of in your entire life, right here, right this second, never going to be anywhere else, ever. It will never be anywhere else. Where else can it be? It's going to be there in 3 months from now? It'll happen in 3 months or 6 years or on your deathbed? Okay, it'll happen on your deathbed, but it's happening now. Why should you wait for your deathbed for it to happen? And if you're missing it now, why do you think you're going to get it on your deathbed? Why do you think at that moment you're going to suddenly go, oh, this was it? And if you do, you're going to go, oh, this was it the whole time? And I didn't know it until this last millisecond of my life? Wow, that's a bummer. What a sad thing to know at the last second of your life. Why do you want to know it then? You don't want to know it then. You do. It's better then than not. Because you can actually leave this world as confused and as asleep and as out of it as you lived your life. That's what most people do. You come into this thing in a daze and you leave in a daze and you go, what was that? There were some flowers. I remember there were some flowers. It was kind of pretty and there was sky. What a waste. Who wants to know there were flowers and sky? You want to know it now. You want to know it now. And if you're not knowing it now, it's because you're lazy. You're lazy. You're not doing the work. You're not waking up to the power of what this moment represents. It is unbelievably alive. I don't mean casually alive. I mean unbelievably alive. And you're in it. And I'll tell you something. The way you want to leave this world is loving life to pieces. You want to love it so much. You want to love it so much that you take it with you. That's what you want. You don't want to leave this world hating life, having missed it, having never sensed it what it was. You want to leave it knowing every single molecule of existence and saying, wow. And if you don't have it that way, what have you had? What have you had? Oh my God, taxes are due. Oh my God, I got to do this. Oh, you can have that too. You know, it's okay to worry about taxes. It's okay to be miserable and have a hard time and go through pain and struggle and all that stuff. It's knowing that that's an amazing thing to be going through. The world hurts. It does. It's not an easy ride. You tell me one person who's having an easy ride. I've never met them. Ever. Everybody's having a hard ride. Everybody's going through this in a state of struggle, but they wouldn't leave it for the world. They wouldn't leave it for anything. Why? Because they love it. But do they know they love it? No, that's the problem. Know that you love this. You really do love it. You wouldn't fight to be here. You know? I mean, I know some people really want to leave this place. They're just miserable and it's really too painful and it's too hard. And God bless them. I understand how painful it can get. I don't know if you listen to my talks from the last 4 months, but I have 2 torn rotator cuffs and haven't slept. I mean, I am sleeping now, but I didn't sleep for months. Just didn't sleep, and I was going crazy, and I was taking pain pills, and they were making me more psychotic than crazy. And I finally said, I can't do that. I'd rather be alive and in pain than psychotic and dulled to pain. And I just started living with the pain. And I'm telling you, Rudy said pain is God's love. It is a teacher. It teaches you, accept that life is painful. Accept that there are people who don't like you. Accept that there are going to be relationships you're not going to have. Desires that will not be fulfilled. That's part of the game. There's stuff you're not going to get, and there's stuff you are going to get. And you may not like the stuff you got, and you may wish you had the other stuff. That's how you live life. But when you have a spiritual depth in all of that, when you go deep in and you really open to the truth of your life, you look at all of this as, wow, that hurt. Wow, I didn't get that. Wow, there's real sadness here. Wow, that's the most beautiful person I ever saw in my life. And I'll never see them again, and I will never sleep with them. You got to go through that. You got to live that. You've got to live it. You have to let it come and go. You got to let it know that it's beautiful and ugly. You've got to know the whole truth. That's what it is. And if you're walking around in a false state of security and safety, you're in trouble. You're in total trouble. You show me a safe person in this world, you're all going to die. Sorry to tell you. You're not safe. Nothing is going to make you safe, ever. So your false safety, your illusion that, I got a beautiful house and I can still make the payments, and I got a job and I got a great wife and I got kids. That's all wonderful. It's wonderful, but it's not safety. It's not safety. It's just a wonderful this moment. It's a wonderful this moment. And even then, it's not always a wonderful this moment. Your kids can make you crazy. The house can fall apart. We have earthquakes in California. I mean, things happen. Tornadoes, all that stuff happens. You get something and it's taken away. You get it and it's taken away. Then you get it and get it and get it and get it, and you realize, oh my God, I'm always going to have it. And then they take it away again. The only thing you can't take away, maybe, is this. What is this? What is this? What is this rare thing that Rudy taught us about? What is this thing of walking into your own heart? What is this thing of focusing on your heart chakra and saying, please help me to surrender? Taking a breath and holding that breath and just sitting there and watching something and watching what happens. And somewhere along the way you build this muscle of opening and opening, and then the portal reveals itself. The portal, I talk about it all the time. There's this something that happens. It just goes. It happens to anyone who sits long enough and asks and knocks. Ask and ye shall receive, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Seek and ye shall find. It's right here. And if you go into your heart chakra and you just sit there, and you can do it in your other chakras, but the heart chakra is very accessible. And you sit there, this thing envelops you, and it's the most amazing space. It's so articulate. It's so brilliant. It's so insightful. It's so clear. It's so full of poetry. It's so full of all the things you're looking for. You don't have to go to sleep in the world because this is the ultimate rest. It's like, oh, wow. And you never want to leave. And you kind of don't have to leave. But if you do leave, it's okay because you can go back. It's your heart chakra. It's yours. It's yours. It's available. You've been working for years, some of you, to open this doorway. Go there. Don't sit here and sleep. Go here. And that's a place, and it feels like sleep. It feels exactly like, except it's like, and it wakes you up. It doesn't close you down. It frees you to be here. This heart chakra is so beautiful. Awakening is so beautiful. It's what you want. And then if you're lucky, you can walk through your day-to-day existence with it. And just because they're foreclosing on your house, and just because your best friend doesn't talk to you anymore, and just because your kids are angry at you, it doesn't matter. Because you can go here and go, I totally get it. This is what it is. This is how it works. It's given and it's taken away. Life is ephemeral. Love comes and it goes. You cannot dictate life. It will do what it wants to do. But you can sit here in a state of peace is a good word for it. Opening, understanding, allowing, presence, awareness. You can sit there and say, okay. You can't do it all day long. Some things hurt so much that they really pull you into the world of pain. They really do. And you get caught in that. And then what do you do when you're in that? You go, please help me find my way back. So there you are, having to make the journey back into yourself. But the journey is available to you because you have been working it for so long. You go back into yourself and you go, oh, thank you. Thank you again. You know, I talk always about Krishna and the gopis. You know, the gopis are always seeking Krishna who is hiding behind one tree and another. That's your heart chakra. Often it's hiding from you, but it's always there. Just go seek it again. Seek it and it will, hello. You go, oh. You go right into your heart chakra and you go, oh, thank you. And it's wonderful. And then sometimes it spits you out or sometimes you just leave it because you're unconscious. But being conscious means, yeah. When I sit in my heart chakra and I teach, I look into each of you and I know exactly what's wrong with you. I know exactly what's wrong. And I actually have this kind of operating machinery of my hands and energy, and I don't know why or how it tells me exactly what to do. And I can go into each of you and I can alter this thing that is fighting me or fighting itself. I can just, it's a tiny little thing. Sometimes it's a little bigger, but I can actually shift it. And I say, I'm not talking Bruce. Bruce isn't in charge of this thing. The heart chakra is in charge of what is. And I don't mean the heart chakra, I mean the energy and the presence that resides there and here. But it's very, very wise. It's creatively brilliant. It knows how to announce itself in speech, in action, in emotion. And it does. It gives itself to the world. It gives itself. You can go to that space anytime and you can see the exact same thing that I'm talking about. With the same insight, the same brilliance, the same articulation, the same emotional reality. It's not Bruce's. It's each of ours. It's the same space. Your heart chakra is the heart of the universe. It's all, none of us are better or less. Some of us are more deluded. Some of us are authentic in contact with that. Some of us are inauthentic, building this false self that we want people to love. They will love you completely if you open to your heart chakra, because they will feel embraced by you. What you really want in life is this. And what you think you want is for your children to love you. It's not going to happen. I mean, it may happen, but if they don't love you, it's because they don't have an opening in their heart chakra, and you will know that, and you probably don't, so they're not attracted to you. You find this space in yourself, and people will be drawn to it. They will be drawn. They will be drawn because this is the thing they want most in life, and they will feel it. It's why you guys get in a car and come here, because you will regularly get love from this space, or presence. It will never not be here. But what a waste of energy, driving a car all this distance to come and get it, when all you have to do is now there's something to be said for sharing that energy. Two people with open hearts coming together is one of the most beautiful things in the world. The greatest highlight in life for most people is good sex. Sex with love. That's like, it doesn't get better than that in the world. Loving and opening from this space is better. I won't say it's constant orgasm because it doesn't have that peak quality, but it's the moment after. It's that incredible peace that follows lovemaking. That's what you have inside. And you come to that, and you live in that space, and you get it from another person, and you hug, and you experience it with each other, or you share it in a space of a room like this called Sangha, and you experience truth as a group. That's a great thing. That's worth the ride. But you're not going to leave this world in a group. You're going to leave this world all by yourself. So don't look for this outside, look for it inside. Be authentic in your search. Be authentic in how you live. Don't create a false self, because it's going to be destroyed. Nobody's going to be in love with your false self. Everyone will love who you are, who you truly are. And the thing that I love about looking at you from this space is I see right through the bullshit. I see right through the inarticulated, inauthentic self. And I see the part of you that's maybe 6 weeks old, and all it wants is to be hugged. Which is all any of us want. Trust me. It's all any of us want, is to be loved. Embraced, hugged, enfolded in that state of motherly acceptance and trust. That's what we want. That's what we have. No, if you go into this inner space, that is what you will experience. It's happening right now. You are loved and embraced right now. Don't look for somebody else out there to do it, because they're not going to do it the way you want it. The way you want it is happening now. If you find it outside for a while, enjoy it. Seek it because it's part of what we do in life, and because having it reflected even occasionally is so beautiful. But this is where it always resides, always. It's yours, it's available, but if you waste your time on this earth looking for it outside, you're going to regret it. Do it here now. So, any questions? If you guys walk away from here with anything other than inspiration, if you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling, oh, he saw the truth of me, any of that shit, I don't do that. I just love you guys, and I just want you to figure it out.
You woke us up.
I did?
You woke us up, for sure.
Maybe. I would love that to be the case. I would love that to be the case. I would love you all to be awake. That would make this so much more joyful. And so much simpler. We would just... Well, you already feel it. I mean, we already feel it with each other. But it's just the tip of an enormous iceberg of possible connectivity. So, keep at it.
How do we go from here to here? And when we do, what change is made?
Going from your heart to your navel chakra one senses it as a physiological thing that you're doing. It's really just deepening your wish. It's going from, I call it wanting, wishing, need. I want something so much. I really wish I could have it. I need this thing. You know, that's when it starts to happen. When you get to need, things happen. And, you know, I'll tell you the scary thing about getting to need is that you become vulnerable. And people don't want to be vulnerable. Once you say, I need something, you're naked, you know?
So when you're here and you feel that vulnerability, do you pop up back here?
No, stay.
Or do you just go back down to the base and really try to get to it?
Stay right in, live in it. Watch what it does. Watch how deeply it communicates with you. The whole universe wants this awakening for you to occur. Wants you to see the reality of this moment. That's what it wants. You know, it also wants us to cover it up. I mean, the universe is very interesting in its construct. It can't become manifest if we all are truly aware of life. I mean, it would be a very different world, is all I can tell you. Maybe not a bad one, but it's creating a world of duality because that's how materialization occurs. The materialized world is effort and obstruction working continually. Once you let go of the obstruction, then what is it? How does it work? Well, maybe we'll build that world and find out, but if not, what we're having is most people living in an obstructed way. The people who come to spiritual life are going, I can't do that anymore. Help me get rid of this obstruction. But the obstruction is you. And because it's you, you have to be willing to become naked, vulnerable, and unsafe. And that's why most people don't do it. They're so afraid. Even people sitting in spiritual classes. In fact, most people sitting in spiritual classes are saying, let me hide in spirituality. If I can be spiritual, I won't have to do any of this stuff. I can protect myself with my cloak of being, oh, I'm so spiritual. It's the worst way to hide because it doesn't work and it's very hard to escape it. So trying to be spiritual is not a recommendation. Trying to be religious is not a recommendation. Get rid of all of that if you can, and then you will truly be spiritual, which will not look at anything like people sitting around like, oh, I'm so spiritual. Because that isn't spiritual. It's just another cloak of invulnerability.
How do you stay awake to make sure it's a continuous process?
Well, in the material sense, in the worldly sense, I mean, you can only stay awake so much. I mean, you have to sleep. You know, we all have to go to sleep. But you don't have to sleep in the middle of the day. You don't have to go to sleep when you're sitting and meditating. You know, I mean, that's the last time. So when you're sitting and meditating and all the cues start to come that say, oh, I feel so good, I'm just going to sleep. When that starts to happen, you have to go, no, no. And that's will. That's navel chakra. You go, no. It's amazing how you can let go of tiredness and laziness. You just go down here and you go, no, I will not accept that. It's amazing what power that has. You know, you say no, or even, you know, when I had all this shoulder pain, I just started saying yes to the pain. That was an interesting phenomenon. And I just would go to sleep with pain. And I would just lean into it. And it would kind of change. It would go through transformations. And I would finally be able to get to sleep. And I didn't have to take a lot of drugs. It's a way of accepting this tiredness is happening. Stare it down. I accept you. I lean into it. Not to go to sleep, but to move through it into this big, big, big space that's there. And that space that's really in you is wildly awake. Wildly awake. It's so vibrant. It's so alert. It's so clear. That's what you want to live in. And you don't want to live in this foggy state of being, which most people do. 99% of people live in a foggy state of being. And they're not happy there. But the universe uses that very well. You know, the world uses it well. You know, pharmacists use it well. You know, they give you pills to go to sleep, they give you pills to wake up, they sell you caffeine, you know, they keep you going. You know, they give you things to make you look prettier so people will love you more and to, you know, make you lose weight so that you'll feel better about yourself. They do all of this stuff to keep you in imbalance. What you want is to get rid of all of that and just go, I am in balance. I don't need that stuff. I don't need the world to tell me I'm okay, because I know I'm okay. I know I'm awake. When you feel yourself dragging and falling asleep, I mean, look, it happens, but I've been teaching this for years, 40 years, and I've taught classes on 3 hours sleep, and I walk in, I go, I'm not going to be able to pull this off. There's no way that I'll be able to do it. I'm going to fall asleep in front of everybody. And I sit down, I open up, and there's this energy. Where's it coming from? I have no idea. I'll tell you this afternoon, I'm going to crash. But when the energy of the class is happening, it is totally dynamic. Totally. When you come to a class, you need to find that dynamism. You just need to find it. Otherwise, what are you doing here? Why do it? Why go to college and realize 4 years after that you never understood anything? That you found a way to get all A's, but you never learned a thing? What's that about? You fooled the system, but you didn't fool truth. You don't want to fool anything. You want to be truly there. You want to get what's here to be gotten. That's what we're here for. And you can get as much as you want or as little as you want. It's kind of it's in your power to make that happen. I know people don't believe that because the world is so obstructed, but you can work through one obstruction after another. You just keep going. I had a career. My career didn't start till I was in my mid-40s. It said no to me, no, 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 from my 20s to my 40s. I never stopped trying. 25 years of trying to get something that kept saying no. But I never gave up, and they ended up saying, well, he's not going to give up. And they gave it to me. And I think they gave it to me because I didn't stop. That's what spiritual work is about. You don't stop. And the knock and it shall be open. Well, they're knocked for 25 years. That's what it takes. It doesn't take an occasional knock. Hello? It's not like that. It's megaphones. Open up now. You have to keep that going and going and going until they do. It's the only way it works. Truly, truly. Otherwise it doesn't happen. So, okay, it's a long class. Thank you guys. You have a question?
Well, someone said, I was talking to someone who's very kind of religious, spiritual, and she said, do you love Jesus? And I said, yeah, I love Jesus. And she said, he's got to be your only love. He's very jealous.
Well, that protects her. The Jewish people are the chosen ones, the chosen people. Everybody's got their thing, about how they're protected by their Savior, their whatever. That's fine to believe that, and in some ways there is a quality of truth to it, but it will never be the whole truth. I can get myself in trouble saying that, but there's a bigger truth. There's no jealous God.
Yeah.
There's only love, and it's pervasive.
Yeah.
And most of us are so cut off from it that we don't know the truth of it.
It's, as I told you, I've been doing salsa, and to open to loving, I danced with like 20 people in one night, and to open to loving all of them, each one, has been amazing. But I could see how, if you can't just be with it, instead of like...
Yeah, you trip all over your feet.
Yeah, or acting on it and becoming the salsa slut,
Yeah.
or whatever.
No, it's a great metaphor. It's a great metaphor. We all have to do the dance that's in front of us. And once you say, I'm going to do the salsa dance with whoever appears is not going to have the look that you want. The people who enter your life day to day often are not the people you want to spend time with, but the thing you have to recognize is they're in front of you. They're your next partner. One way or another, either you're going to do the salsa dance with them, or you're going to fall on your face. But you can say no to them, but that doesn't go down well. Not in a dance parlor.
But when I open to them, I love them all.
Well, of course, when you open, you love them. Yes, and that's exactly what life is. You open to the person in front of you, and you will love them. How could you not? Enough.